right? People doing stupid dances on TikTok is not a threat to national security.
Yeah.
Right? The fact that we have an infrastructure that is totally collapsing in our power grid, that we know, is common knowledge that the Chinese have Trojan horse programs in our computer systems all over the place. That is a threat to national security. But our government sits here, no, we got to take down TikTok. How is that going to fix anything? Right? What does that solve? Right? So by removing TikTok from the playing field, well, then Meta's the king, right? Someone else will have to rise up, you know, to then be able to compete on that space, which somebody will. You know, that's the way that it works. Because you know, X is a different type of platform.
Sure. But then you have X or Twitter. Right. But now Meta went and created Threads. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
To compete with Twitter.
Right. So now Meta, Zuckerberg, he has the monopoly.
100%.
Like he owns it 100%. So is this a true concern for the American people, or is it something different? Because then, not 30 minutes later, in another interview, you got Chuck Schumer, a Democrat from North Carolina, who is standing here on a podium like he's the authority on everything, talking about that they need to have new elections in Israel to replace the government. Who are you?
Yeah.
Is New York clicking on all cylinders right now? Right? Is crime obsolete? You know, are there no issues? You know, how's that sanitation system working over there? Right? And like, come on. Who are you, the authority, to say what another country should do? If the Israeli people want to have a change inside of their government, then they can do that. They don't need Americans telling them what to do.
Yeah.
We've done this for decades upon decades. You know, we tried it in Vietnam, got our butt kicked. We tried it in Afghanistan, got our butt kicked. We tried it in Iraq, got our butt kicked. Okay, anywhere where we've tried to go and insert our dominance to spread democracy, we keep getting our butt kicked.
For sure. How does that make you feel though, as obviously ex-Marine, you've worked in government, you served, you know what I mean? So how does it make you feel that they're going after TikTok versus after the real issues of national security? Even though, you know, they're talking about with them having the software, they have the data of everybody that has TikTok platform, and the Chinese know where everyone can be at and all that kind of stuff. When you go through the fine print of, you know, ByteDance, it gets into the navigation, you know what I'm saying, where people are at, what they're doing. You can spy through their cameras, all that kind of stuff is what they're kind of talking about being a risk. But obviously there are larger things at risk. So how do you feel about them doing, like going after TikTok versus the known things that you already know?
Let's shut down Apple.
Yeah.
This is made in the same country that runs TikTok. This is no different, right? We have given up our right to privacy, right? With the technology, you know. So why is TikTok worse than Apple? Why is TikTok worse than these computer screens that I bought, which inevitably were made in China? You know, this MacBook was primarily assembled in China, right? So if the issue is, all right, the Chinese government has such an influence on their companies that are functioning, because we know they do, every product that they send to this country poses a potential threat to know where we are, what we're doing, why we're doing it, right? So does Google, right? Every time you go on the computer and you search for something, what do? They then take that, they remarket it, and now you're getting ads to buy stuff, right? Well, Google's primarily an American company. Well, they're doing the same thing. So how is it any different? Google knows where you are, what you're doing, what you're buying, right? So what are you really trying to solve? Is it really national security, right? Is it really people's personal privacy? I don't see that, because it's not standard, it's not consistent across the board. You know, but it goes back to my other thing. A true threat to national security is the lives of Americans, and we are losing at minimum 100,000 a year because the precursor chemicals for fentanyl are being smuggled from China through Mexico into this country, and it's killing people, and it happens every single day, and nothing is being done about it. I read an article earlier this morning, and it says, you know, some sanctions have been, you know, imposed, right? Sanctions do nothing. We know that sanctions do nothing. You know, the war in Ukraine started, right? We put all kinds of sanctions on the Russian economy. right? Well, guess what? The Russian economy is thriving, and I paid $3.49 for fuel this morning, right? The sanctions on the Russian economy are just hurting me and you, right? They're just making it harder for me to feed my children. It ain't making it harder to feed anybody in Russia. They are fine. They are not struggling like our government would have us believe. You know, Tucker Carlson, he goes to Russia, interviews Vladimir Putin. Wonderful interview. Right? The people that don't like Tucker are calling him, he's a traitor. Why? When he's just asking the questions to the other side. You know, let's see where we're at. So then after the interview, and while he spent, you know, a week or two in Russia, whatever it was, he goes to a Russian grocery store and goes shopping just to see. And it was cheap. They're okay. You know, it's like we're just being lied to on so many different levels. You know, and like here, like we do a lot of social media here, and like, and frankly, like at the end of the day, I don't care if it's TikTok or MetTweet, like whatever it is. You know, like we will use it because you know media is it. You know, but is TikTok really the bad guy here? You know, or is it something else? And it's something much deeper. You know, because I don't see how you fix the problem. You know, you elevate a competitor very quickly, right? Because all of those millions of users of TikTok are going to navigate somewhere else, those that are not already on multiple platforms, and most people are. The Meta gets a bump, their stock prices, again, all of the issues and the concerns that you have on why TikTok is bad, you can make that case for so many other people. And you can make, it's Apple, you know, it's Android. Like we manufacture nothing, right? Start building some manufacturing plants, and let's start creating products inside this country again, and then you don't have to worry about banning because we'll get them here.